You guys ready?
I won't even.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of October 10th, 2022. Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Here.
Gerhardstein.
Here.
Jaworski.
Here.
Kowski. Here. Levon.
Here.
Saloto. Here. Thielman.
Here.
Entertain a motion to allow Councilman Jaworski and Thielman to abstain from voting on the meeting minutes of September 26th.
I make a motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bala to allow Councilman Jaworski and Thielman to abstain from the voting on the meeting minutes of September 26, 2022. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto. Yes. Thielman.
Yes.
Approval of meeting minutes.
I make a motion we approve the meeting minutes from September 26th.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto that the meeting minutes of September 26, 2022 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Abstain.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Abstain.
Okay, reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. I just want to touch base a little bit on the construction. I know it can be an inconvenience, but when the state releases money, we have to complete the project by the end of the season. So that's why Lakeland is being done at this time. We were hoping that the underpass would be completed by now. However, unfortunately, the state and everything has delays. But the service department had traffic department adjust the timing of the lights, so hopefully it gets a little bit better during the heavy rush hour times. Today, the intersection of the freeway exit there and Lakeland was being paved, so there was some backups today, but that should all be in the past and it should get better as we go. So again, just a little bit more patience is all I ask, please. And then just to touch base, the Chamber of Commerce held an event this week at the Wickliffe Public Library. It was very nice. 8 Wickliffe business owners were in attendance, and I introduced myself and talked a little bit about Euclid Avenue, and I let them know my plans for the city based on my presentations earlier in the year to the residents at the State of the City. And then we are beginning to work on the budget. So the Finance Director Doles and will be meeting with each of the directors, and we let all of them know to put whatever capital needs into the proper committee. This way we can discuss it as necessary, so there won't be any issues when it goes into the Finance Committee. And that is all I have.
Okay, so I don't believe we have it. I'll put 2023 budget into the Finance Committee. So when we do our ready, you can call that committee meeting. Any questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Thank you, Joe. Reports and communications to the Director of Law. He is excused. Communications from Council President. I do have a liquor permit request for SSS Management LLC, also known as Circle K, 28611 Euclid Avenue. I would allow the councilman of that ward to, if he has any objections, to let the council clerk know. Any amendments or additions to the agenda? Mayor?
Yes, I would like to call for an executive session after tonight's meeting to discuss personnel.
Okay. We'll add executive session to discuss personnel as line item 18 on the agenda and move adjournment to line item 19. Are there any other additions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the administrators. Police Chief Ice is excused. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Council President. As many of you are probably aware, this week is Fire Prevention Week. So we're in all the elementary schools, all 3 of them this week, pre-K through 4th grade, educating the kids, showing them all about the fire department, being safe at home. The other thing is the underpass is getting they're concreting this Thursday from 10 to 4 in the afternoon. So again, we'll put a squad on the north side of town with a couple people in case we should get calls while we're cut off. That's all I have, sir.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Councilman Bella?
Jim, if some company wanted some, guys come in and do some fire, teach them a little bit about how to work a fire extinguisher or anything like that, is there a fee or anything, or is it, there'd be a pro bono for us, or?
We've worked with some companies in the past. It's difficult taking the on-duty personnel and putting them there because when they get the call, they have to leave. So we set something up with, say, one of the assisted living homes, and they have 40 people ready to go fire extinguisher train. Then we get multiple calls. So then the only way I can work around that is bring people in through overtime. And we really haven't had a lot of people request it, so we really haven't pursued it. We've done it maybe 5 or 6 businesses, but nothing really significant. That's 5 or 6 probably over the last 2 or 3 years.
All right, thanks.
But we'd be willing to do it, it's just coordinating.
All right.
Any other questions or comments? Councilman Gerritstein?
Chief, I'm not sure if this is for you or for Tim, but I'll ask you, since you and I participated last year in the trunk and treat for the school, do you know if that activity is going on this year and what date that is?
I am not aware of it, and maybe Tim knows, I don't know.
It is, but I'm not sure the date.
Okay.
Fire department will be there. As soon as we find out the date, hopefully it's not tomorrow.
Not that early, yeah.
Any other questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief. Finance Director Doles.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to make council aware that it's benefit renewal time again, and there will be ordinances for the renewal of the city's healthcare and dental and vision. Next meeting, right now where it stands, the medical and prescription is a 8.7% increase. And the dental and vision are still being negotiated. The term life stays static because we have a contract through the end of 2023 with that rate. And then the only other thing I have is just to let you know that the general fund carryover at the end of September, I forgot what month it is, sorry, was $7.1 million. And, the year-to-date expenses the revenue over expenses, if we take into consideration, thank you, the encumbrances, if all the encumbrances that we have at the end of the month were spent, we are in the black $600,000. So, and that's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the Finance Director? Councilman Gerritstein?
That also includes the increase that we added for the roads. That's
Yes.
okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Dewey. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. Just to update, further update with the pavement improvements and what's going on around town. Fairway Drive was completed last week. It's a little bit of a rough ride. I talked to the contractor. We know that always happens. Those top some loose stone on top will crush down. If not, the snow plows will take care of it, and it'll be smooth and not black. It'll look nice when all's said and done. So I'm really encouraged. I think it looks great for less than a third of the cost of resurfacing. You got a nice road out of it that should last another 10 to 15, maybe even 20 years, depending on the base. So, other things, Sherbrooke Drive is going to be paved this week. Plan to, as the mayor mentioned, Lakeland Boulevard, the first layer on the north side was paved this morning. So we'll have one more of those big traffic inconveniences when we put the surface course down on the north side. But and then Ginder Park, the sidewalk is getting poured. They were pouring this afternoon when I was out there, doing a great job, and it's moving along quickly. What else we have going on? Oh, we have actually a project that's still out to bid yet for the sewer repairs on Park Street that we pulled out of the road resurfacing contract, and that bid opening will happen not this coming Friday, but the following. Also, one other thing, applications for our Ohio Public Works Commission grant, which we've already put in the pre-app, but there's a resolution that will be on hopefully for the next council meeting that we'll need signed, but we can, the applications are due Friday, but we can put that in saying, hey, that it's gonna be before council, and that's all good. So, we're moving forward, and then pulling together numbers for next year, so.
Any questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Gerritstein.
Pete, as the mayor brought up in his remarks about putting the proper in committee, are you gonna have what you suggest that we do
Yes.
to put that in there so we can work on that?
Ron and I are working on the list. We've got a couple of streets already kind of at the top there, and I'm gonna put together the menu, and I'll have that out to you hopefully before the next council meeting.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Jaworski.
Pete, how bad was the base on this portion of Lakeland?
Surprisingly not bad at all. Really, there was only one major trench repair that goes all the way across Lakeland Boulevard, and that just so happens to be right by let's call it the west side of the freeway entrance there, and they should be digging that out tomorrow. But we were able to, we walked the street, Ron walked it with my guys last Friday, and I told them, our philosophy is, when in doubt, rip it out. And let's do it right, let's get a good base. And there was only one really bad spot. So that's great. Great news, we'll save some money.
And then how are the sewers in that section of Warden?
Those were all taken care of through the contract. We televised those throughout the summer. That's kind of the reason we got it out to bid a little bit later, because our sewer televising equipment was down. And but once they got the new parts, we got that televised, and we're doing some sewer lining. Nothing had to be excavated or dug up, but we're doing some trenchless repairs, lining of different sections.
Overall, though, were the sewers in better shape than what you thought they would be in, or?
Yes, there was a couple bad ones, but the lining's gonna take care of it. Overall, it was in good shape though, yeah.
Good, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Aaron?
Yeah, so, yeah, I gotta say I was impressed. I took a drive down Fairway. Yeah, the cul-de-sac was a little bit rough, but as Pete explained, it will smooth it out. But for 40,000 compared to what it normally costs, I was impressed, and I thought it looked very nice. Also, if you guys do get a chance, I'm blown away with the Ginger walking path, 7 foot wide. Just they've done a great job, and this is their first city, and they're hustling, and they don't drag their feet. I will say that. So they made a lot of progress, but yeah, so that's all.
Thank you. All right, last call for any questions or comments for the city engineer. Thank you, Pete. Service Director Strouser is excused. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. In addition to my monthly report, the last couple weeks we're getting a lot of permits in, a little more than normal, and we're getting it through. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Councilman Gerritstein.
So Ray, last meeting we passed the ordinance on vacant buildings, and those fees are going to go up drastically. I mean, they're going up. So does the building department have a current list citywide of the current vacant buildings?
Yes.
So the buildings like Premier's front building, is that on that list?
No, it's not.
Okay, I mean,
It should be on the list. They should pay.
okay.
Even though it's 2 addresses. One is on Warden and one is on Euclid Avenue that's vacant.
Okay, because the fees are going up, some of those fees, I mean, there's gonna be a business that pays, $12,000 next year, and if
Yeah.
there's people that aren't on the list, the people that are gonna be paying $12,000 for a vacant building would have every right to be upset if buildings that are vacant aren't on that list.
We were just, Dino and I were just going through this, as a matter of fact, today, and we're cleaning it up a little bit to make sure we've got everybody.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Thank you, Rick. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just one comment to add to my written report. We're working with the Cleveland Monsters to have a Wickliffe night at their Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on Friday, November 4th. There is special pricing for our Wickliffe people. And it's open to family and friends also, so you don't have to necessarily only reside in Wickliffe. They do a discounted pricing. A $33 ticket is down to $18. A $36 ticket is down to $22. So they have a couple different price points for us. It's a special Friday night with food and drink specials, and it's also recognizing first responders. All the information is on our website, and it was on our Facebook page also. So just wanted to make persons aware of that because it's going to be here before you know it on November 4th. And that's it.
Any questions or comments for Recreation Director? Councilwoman Koski.
The Halloween
Yes,
children's thing at the high school. Tell
20
everyone again when they
25th. It's going to be Tuesday the 25th from 6:30 to 8. Jungle Terror will be there. It's kids up through 4th grade. We'll be trick-or-treating through the hallways of the high school. We'll have a DJ and carnival-type games. So that's Tuesday the 25th for Wickliffe kids. And if anybody would like to man the station, we could use you. I know Randy will be there, and Sherry will be there. All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Tim. Economic Development Manager Drake.
Thank you, Council President. The Provo House is on track for beginning the demolition process this week. I just got a message very late this afternoon that the asbestos person will be there on Wednesday to begin the process. They have to be the first ones in. They'll remove all the asbestos out of the building. I understand that their caulking of the windows has asbestos in it, which is not overly common, but it does happen. So that's one of the pieces, and anything else that has asbestos they'll remove first. Then they'll have to cap off stuff, remove meters, beyond the normal shutting off of utilities, but removing it from premises. And then the last step will be the final excavation, bringing the excavator and removing the structure. So that is beginning on Wednesday. I've been in communications with new and potential Wickliffe property owners and businesses. One of those businesses purchased the former Chase Bank Plaza. He intends to open his administrative office for his own business there, and that'll create about 10 new jobs in the city. He's also planning on renovating the other suites to make them available for rent, their office space. The building happens to be a zoned office. Another business that I was meeting with it purchased and is rehabilitating his building on East 289th Street, and this new business is bringing about 3 new jobs in the city. Live Golden Nutrition on Euclid Avenue is formally open. They had their opening on Saturday. I've been working with business owners seeking to expand her business by opening a new location in Wickliffe, and so she just provided her with information, and if she needs additional help, I'll be helping her. And also started communicating with somebody who's looking for classroom space, which is interesting. And then I also have meetings with some businesses sharing the our commercial building renovation program with them. There's $3,500 still left, and I'm hopeful that one of these businesses, because they do want some new signs, that they'll participate in the program. And regarding that, I just want to share with you, some of these new businesses, like both of the ones I met with today, are actually doing some renovations to their storefront. And so I shared the program with them. I know there's other businesses that weren't quite ready this year, and probably would want to participate next year. So, that's of course up to the mayor and council whether that program is in the budget and then refunded. But there is interest. I did want to share that with you. There is interest in the program, and it is helping our businesses. And with that, I'm open to questions.
Any questions or comments for the Economic Development Manager? Councilwoman Saloto.
Hi. So, Monica, great job. I mean, with respect to the storefront renovation, I mean, I think we've got some really good people doing some good things, but of the money that we gave away, how much do you think is still, I mean, I know how much is left that hasn't been called for, but for that has been claimed, how much more are we waiting for? I mean, have they accomplished these projects, or are we still?
There's 2 projects, no, I apologize, 3. One is, 2 of them are $10,000 projects. One is a signage storefront project, and another is parking lot. Parking lot one is anticipated being completed in, he's hoping the end of the month, but maybe into early November, but they're looking to wrap that up. The other project, Debbie has all the information to encumber the funds, and I was meeting with them last week and discussing where they're at, making sure the W-9 was in and everything that Debbie needed to prepare. So.
Perfect. Yeah, as long as we keep things going and we can actually have all this stuff come to fruition before the winter, I guess.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And then let's take pictures of all the new stuff and put it together so we can see what this year
Yes, I do have
meant.
before and after pictures, so I'll put
Yeah,
together like a
we
nice
can
collage
compile,
for you
yeah, that'd
guys.
be great. Just so council and
even
everybody
put,
can
you know,
see.
adding it up on the website, especially when we get the new website up, that we
Yeah,
can see
I mean, I'd love to
what
include it.
people are doing.
Yeah, include it in like the connection, or, you know, just different things so people can see, you know, how we're really starting to improve things around here.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Councilman Gerstein?
No, I'll pass, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for the Economic Development Manager? Thank you, Monica. I'll now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please stand, state your name and address for the clerk's record. She does have a microphone, if we want to use that, because we are trying to broadcast this meeting to all. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Ms. Beller?
Can everyone hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. Marissa. I live at 2232 Larchmont Drive. There's a comment on Facebook. Dorothy is wondering, once Warden is open again, is the project done, or will it happen again next year?
It will happen again next year. This is only half of the ODOT's fixed to the bridge, so this is not finished when they reopen it. When are they reopening it again? November?
It'll start all over again in the spring.
Okay, when are they opening it full time?
The plan is for the end of the year next year, November, December.
So it won't technically be done. It'll just, the area will be reopened for traffic during the
Correct.
winter time.
Traffic will be reinstated.
Okay.
The contractor told me 2 weeks ago, after Thanksgiving, it was his best guess.
That was the answer I was looking for. When is it open again? After Thanksgiving, and then it will close again in the spring.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, gotcha. And then Kathy asked, is there anything the city can do about some homeowners and landscapers that blow grass, leaves, and litter into the street?
That's more of a question for Chief Ice, the safety. Mayor?
Yes, grass clippings especially, you'd have to call the police department, because I know that there's motorcycle hazard. They slip on that grass, they hit that, it could be bad. So that would be the best answer.
Yeah, to call the non-emergency line, police line, and see if they can.
Okay, I know it's also a pollutant for the lake. So is there anything that the city has considered about like putting guards on the sewer grates to like prevent, leaves and like those nitrogen types of things getting into the sewer lines and into the lake?
No, I think we haven't. I think it'd be an exorbitant cost to put one on every single sewer or
Well,
go ahead.
yeah,
Sure.
the city does, often run the sweeper through the
Curbs.
Yeah, through the curbs, but residents should try to be responsible and keep their grass on their property, mulch or bag.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all I had.
All right, thank you. Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Mr. Troy?
Thank you, Mr. President, Mayor, members of council. As your state representative, just wanted to stop. Oh, I don't usually need one of these, but okay. Anyway, a couple of things. First of all, I know that you're struggling and a lot of inconvenience with the Warden Road project, but there's actually a good side of this. I can remember my first stint back in the 80s when they were redoing 305 and Warden Road simultaneously, so you can understand the problem there. But you know, those of us who come from the northern part of and Wickliffe, you know, these days we're getting to see a lot more of the city of Wickliffe because we have to take alternate routes. But anyway, and as your state representative, obviously ODOT is one of the state agencies, and anytime you have any, you know, concerns or problems, you know, feel free to include me in the CCs, you know, so that we can talk to them and hopefully make things better. The reason I'm here, there are a couple of issues that are coming up, and again, as your representative, you know, I want to make sure you're aware of them and that, you know, we are able to communicate and make sure. One of the, you know, we've had a problem with the pandemic with the income tax collections, you know, remote people working remotely, whether or not, you know, the taxes can still be paid to the city even though they are not working in location and that. And of course, before I was there, they allowed the withholding and the taxes to be paid during the year 2020. In 2021, there was kind of a line drawn in the sand saying that, you know, that would be basically, you know, not required anymore, although a lot of it still happened with the people working remotely. The law does allow for people to seek refunds, but of course, as I've explained to some of my colleagues down there who didn't serve in city government before, like I did, I said every one of the cities has a municipal tax ordinance. So if you're saying, well, I wasn't working in Cleveland, I was working from home in Wickliffe, so I want my money back that Cleveland took out of my paycheck, based on the fact that the city of Wickliffe has 2% income tax, then that 2% would be owed to the city of Wickliffe. So there's really no savings for the taxpayer there. So, and I think Wickliffe's still at 100% credit. You give 100% credit for the 2% that you have there. So the reason I bring it up is because there seems to be a movement afoot, and I don't know which direction they're going to go from a lot of the business interests, is the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, the Ohio Society of CPAs, et cetera, who, interesting enough, if both endorse me, but they're looking to do some major reforms on Ohio's municipal income tax system. Now, what that means, what shape that's going to take, because the business community sometimes expresses frustration over it. I want to make sure that, you know, I work with the local governments in this particular district that I represent to make sure that whatever steps are being taken, and obviously I won't be on point on this, this will probably be, you know, coming from representing the majority party, to make sure that we don't, you know, compromise the ability of you folks in city government to provide the services that you need to provide. So just, again, I don't know what it'll look like. I'm just kind of giving you a warning signal that there may be some movement in the legislature being pushed by some business interests to do some sort of reform, you know, and sometimes, you know, reform is not in the best interest of a lot of us. It sounds good, but sometimes reform might be a little bit disastrous. The second thing is a bill that will probably be coming up in the lame duck session. Our police and fire pension in the state of Ohio is struggling right now in terms of being able to meet their, you know, their obligations. You know, looking forward, the actuaries are saying, you know, it's not properly funded. Obviously, what's been happening in the stock market lately hasn't helped in terms of their investment earnings and things like that. So there is a bill, it's in a committee that I'm not on, that will substantially raise the portion that the employer, you the city, pays into the police and fire pension fund. I think the proposal is something like raising that up to somewhere around 26%. So this is one of these things which is a tough balancing act, because we certainly want to make sure that our first responders in the police and the fire service, who when they were hired, you know, were basically told you're entitled to this particular level of pension benefits. We got to make sure, you know, those need to be paid. At the same time, making sure that, you know, that the cities understand this and are able to handle this. Now, I've told a lot of my colleagues, the easiest thing we could do here is restore the local government fund that you folks cut about 10 years ago. And if we bring back the local government fund, that would double what you're getting in the local government fund, probably would be enough to pay the obligations that will be probably necessary as coming out of this proposal. Again, I don't know what's going to happen to the bill. The bill is still in committee. It's very possible it's going to come up in the lame duck session. But again, I think you all agree with me. We certainly want to support our police and fire and make sure their pension benefits are there when they retire, because what they do for us. On the same hand, we got to make sure that we do this wisely. And this is one of these classic balancing acts, which I always say, when I was teaching at Lakeland, the best definition of politics is the management of conflict, and this is one heck of a conflict here to try and do. So again, I'll keep you people abreast of what's going on, but certainly just want to make you aware that that's coming down the pike. And again, I'm going to argue that we right now have pretty good revenue streams coming into the state of Ohio, primarily from the sales tax. We don't know what's going to happen to the economy now. Obviously, there's some danger signs out there, but we are in a position right now where we should be able to give back a substantial portion, if not all, of those cuts. Those cuts were made in the local government fund to balance a budget back in 2011 after the big recession that took place in 08, 09, and 10. The state revenues have recovered from that. We should now say we needed to balance the budget. Well, I didn't think we needed to, but the decision was to balance the state budget on the backs of local government revenues. But we're in balance in the state budget right now, so I'm just thinking it's time we give you some dollars back so that you'll be able to meet these increased obligations. Again, as your representative, it's representative government. It's a two-way street. You'll hear from me, but I need to hear from you whenever you have any concerns. So thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. Commission reports. Seeing no old business, moving to the new business, liquor license renewal for SSS Management LLC. I took care of that during my report. So move on to ordinances. Ordinance 2022-47. An ordinance establishing Chapter 1328, keeping, raising small livestock and bees, regulations of the codified ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio. Third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, second by Councilman Thielman to adopt ordinance 2022-47 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-48. An ordinance enacting a 2022 modified chapter 1116 of the codified ordinances of the City of Wickliffe entitled Erosion and Sediment Control. Third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, second by Councilwoman Soloto to adopt ordinance 2022-48 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-49, an ordinance enacting a 2022 modified chapter 1117 of the codified ordinances of the City of Wickliffe entitled Comprehensive Stormwater Management. Third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Soloto, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein to adopt ordinance 2022-49 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-50, an ordinance enacting a 2022 modified chapter 1118 of the codified ordinances of the City of Wickliffe entitled Illicit Discharge and Illegal Connection Control. Third reading. Discussion.
Adoption.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you're right.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto to adopt ordinance 2022-50 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Resolutions. Resolution 2022-17, a resolution requesting the Lake County, Ohio Auditor to make advance payments of taxes. Second reading. Other legislation? Miscellaneous? Councilwoman Kowski?
No.
Oh, Saloto, Councilwoman Saloto?
I would just like to, we had to cancel, the Euclid Avenue, meeting last Monday, and I'd like to reschedule it.
Good.
And I'm not sure, I guess I want to reschedule it this coming Monday. Are there any other committees meeting this Monday?
No, that hasn't yet. We can still have yours, so.
Okay,
So that is the MS Consulting updates?
yes,
On October 17th at 7 PM?
yes.
Any other miscellaneous? I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session to discuss personnel.
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kowski, seconded by Councilman Thielman to move into executive session to discuss personnel. Discussion. Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break.
It's at 7 o'clock.